Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to be ranking all 5 movies in the Final Destination series, starting with the movie that I enjoyed the least up to my favourite one of the bunch. And I have to say I do really enjoy every single movie in this countdown. This one took a bit of thought, but I've come up with a list, and it's kind of hard to pick one to come in at 5th place, but I had to pick something. So coming in at 5th place is The Final Destination, which is part 4. And this one really, it's kind of first one up on the list, because out of all of them, this is the one that I remember the least about. This one is the least memorable to me. I believe this one has an accident on a race course, but I don't really remember much of the characters or like the way they die and things like that. So this one to me is the least memorable, which is why it's number 5. Also as well, I don't know if I'm being really picky on this, but I really don't like the fact that they called it The Final Destination, because I'm quite OCD and I hate to see like part 1, part 2, part 3, The Final Destination, part 5. That really bugs me. So movie drops a couple of points because of the title. I don't know if that's the same for anyone else, but it just really bugs me that it doesn't follow in terms of numbers. But anyway, at number 5 is The Final Destination. At number 4 is Final Destination 3. And again, I enjoyed the movie. I think it's a cool film. This one for me, I think though, it was like the first one that came along that didn't quite blow me away. I really enjoyed 1 and 2, and I think by the time the 3rd one came along, you kind of get the idea of what's going on. They do kind of follow a certain formula, and this one was no exception. So by the time I got to number 3, it did feel a little bit more kind of run-of-the-mill. Not that it's not a cool film, and I really like the fact that this is a roller coaster breaking down, because I'm a big fan of theme parks. I love going on roller coasters, but somewhere in the back of your mind you're always thinking, you know, I hope this roller coaster doesn't break. And this kind of played on that kind of fear, so that was a really cool setting to have in the movie. So coming in at number 4 is Final Destination 3. Coming in at number 3 is Final Destination 5. Throwing a lot of numbers around in this video. But number 5, again, it's one that I really enjoy. By the time I'd watched this, it was very formulaic. You know exactly what's going to happen. It kind of has the same kind of characters in it. But with this one, I really like the ending to this one. I won't give it away if you've not watched it, but the way it kind of ties things up at the end, I thought was really cool, and I didn't see that coming. So although this one is kind of formulaic, this one scores a few extra points because of that kind of twist ending, if you will. I really thought that was quite cool. So at number 3 is Final Destination 5. Okay, so at number 2, now this is really hard for me, because the last 2 are definitely my favourites in the series, and they're almost neck and neck. But I did think about it hard and came up with a definitive list. So at number 2 is the first Final Destination. I absolutely love this film. I love that it has like that early 2000s, late 90s vibe. I think the characters in this movie are probably the best characters from any Final Destination movie. As I sort of mentioned earlier in the video, the characters in these movies are quite formulaic. They're all kind of like carbon copies of the previous movie. But this one, I don't know if it's because it was the first movie or because it has more recognisable faces, I identified more with the characters in this one. The deaths in this movie I don't think are quite as elaborate as what they would become later on in the franchise, but they're still really cool. And that plane crash at the beginning is really, really scary. So I got nothing bad to say about Final Destination. I really like it as a movie, and that is number 2 in this franchise ranking. So at number 1 we have Final Destination 2. I pretty much like this the same as Final Destination 1. It's just that when I first watched this one sort of blew me away a little bit more than the first one. that scene on the freeway is just intense, and it just seems to never end. It's like one crazy accident after another. I think the deaths in this one become a little bit more elaborate as well, and I found them really entertaining and shocking the first time I watched it. And this one just has a high rewatchability factor for me as well. This one kind of encapsulates both like the characterization and the novelty of the first one, and takes some of the more creative, sort of inventive deaths that they would do with the later movies, and it kind of has a good mix of both. So this is why this movie is the favourite one in the franchise for me. So let me know what you think about that, guys. Did you agree with this countdown? If not, what would your order of films be? Let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.